Welcome to the Long Range Pursuit Podcast, presented by Gunworks, where we learn about and share long-range shooting techniques, science, and gear.
Thanks for joining Long Range Pursuit Podcast. Today, Aaron Davidson and my son, Derec Davidson, we're going to review a few of the reserve hunts that we've been doing and kind of talk about this program we put together. Maybe share a little bit of the why behind it, and then do some Q&A about preparing for hunts. Is that what you had on the bullet points?
Pretty much. I mean, we did preparing for hunts in the last podcast with Mitch, but pretty much your version of it.
Okay. So take her away, Derek.
Well, in the last podcast that you and I were in, you challenged me to get the website done by a certain time frame. Can't remember what it was, first quarter or something, but let's just say I accomplished the time frame there. So I just wanted to go over the reserve experience webpage, pretty much what we have so far, and we redid the whole website, right? So
No.
not the whole.
We've put a new structure together. We've got kind of main landing pages done. We're kind of diving into different pages right now and just more detail. I think we've put together maybe a dozen pages, and there's probably 24 to go. And it's intense. The asset collection is the biggest challenge, I think. Yeah, that's actually been my project, is putting that structure together and putting that in the right direction. And you've done a pretty good job of collecting your assets for the experiences for the reserve hunts.
I feel like my job was a lot easier.
The assets?
I mean, harder, not easier. It was a lot harder.
No, assets are the hardest part of a website.
Yours was easy because you're like, I'm missing a gun. I'm missing a gun picture.
Because
let's grab a Magnus. Let's take it out there.
No, mine was easy because I've done it a million times, and I know that you have to put guardrails up on creatives. You have to know where you're going, right? Put guardrails up.
End product.
You have to know how the website actually gets implemented, like how it's developed and how it's coded, so that you can make sure the creative is easy to implement. So on almost all of the pages that we did to start with, I didn't have to do any code. So we were able to use out-of-the-box templating tools.
Mm-hmm.
And that we were able to do that because I had a vision for what the site should look like, and I directed our creative in that direction. So it's easy because I made it that way.
Mm-hmm. What pages did you work on?
So we did homepage, we did experience page, we did the training page, we did the rifle landing page, and then we've been cleaning up some miscellaneous stuff like the pro program and all the legalese and careers and all that stuff as well.
Yeah.
So
we did like a timeline page too. Yeah, that one needs a little work, but
yeah, more content.
What's your favorite page so far?
Well, I think the main homepage kind of sets the tone for like the look and feel and the messaging of the rest of the site. And so the thing that you see when you land there is just a big epic image of that I think represents everything that we do here, which is this huge landscape and this great opportunity in front of you and some distance, but just an epic hunt and an epic adventure. And the words unrivaled shooting experience.
What does that mean?
Well, maybe the definition is up for interpretation, but I feel that the 2 decades that we've been doing this, and we're just not building guns and collecting money. Like, that's not what we're doing. You look at Gunworks and you say, oh, that might be what Gunworks is. It's just a gun manufacturing company. That's not it at all. Like, we're a problem-solving, technology-focused, innovation-driven company. And in that context, you look at 2 decades of experience, all we do is we sell guns to create revenue and profits so that we can invest in R&D to make new guns and new designs and solve new problems. Like, we've spent more on R&D than 100 of the next competitors that are trying to do exactly what we're doing combined. Like, we're trying to drive new ways to solve old problems in the simplest fashion possible. And so you take that shooting experience and that product focused, solution focused mindset, and I think it's helps us stand out and rise above a lot of the imitators or the guys that have taken another path and are assembling. Not everybody's an imitator. I want to make sure everybody understands that. But there's a lot of companies whose sole mission is to take everything we do and then try to incorporate that to the best of their ability into their products. But there's a lot of guys that choose to do their own thing, but they're not manufacturing, they're assembling. And so they're limited based on what the market options are for barrels and actions and stocks. So, and not knocking that at all. That's where we started as well. But we were never satisfied with, what the other stock guys can produce. We're never satisfied with, the barrel quality of the mass production, barrel houses. We weren't satisfied with the functions of the receivers that we had available to us at the time. So that's why we chose to innovate and to bring better solutions, just like the extractors on actions. I mean, you're going to get me down a rabbit hole and I'll just go for days, but that mindset that we have, I don't think anybody in our industry has that. I don't think anybody invests the percentage or the portion of revenue that we do.
I think the question popping in my head right now, which is probably popping in other guys' heads, is, okay, you're saying that. Those are words. Well, give me 5 problems you've solved. Because in my mind, it's like, how many problems can you solve?
Oh, sure. So when we showed up on the scene in 2006...
I'm thinking recent.
No, I'll just give you the quick rundown.
Okay.
Like, everybody thought long range was the biggest 30 cal that you could find. Lazzaroni,
30.
Weatherby, whatever. Like, just ginormous. This is where the 300 rum came from. Small light bullets going really, really fast, trying to shoot flat. And they were doing the way that people were chasing for the previous 30 or 40 years. But there was a technology advancement that happened in the middle 1994, 95. Bushnell launched the first laser rangefinder. That changed everything. And the minute that we were able to get a good range, which happened when Leica followed up with the LRF 800 and then 1200, the minute you could get a good range, the science of ballistics and long-range shooting would allow us to completely disrupt everything that everybody was thinking about long-range shooting. And so we went slower velocities, better ballistic coefficients, less recoil, with measured distances and exactly calculated drop solutions. The secret was, in our success, was we understood that the language of hunters is yards. It's not MOAs. It's not inches of holdover. None of that stuff really works when it comes down to it. And we realized that holdover reticles were absolutely stupid because we tried them and we failed with them. And we realized that in the heat of the moment, with people who are not training every day, they're going to make mistakes. And so we developed a system that allowed people that don't have that time, right, to just open the box and go. It's what they need. Is they just need an out-of-the-box solution. So we built a solution for them where the ballistic compensation was done on a turret calibrated in yards. And the gun came turnkey with ammo, with scope, with ballistic turret, ready to rock and roll. And that gave the average hunter who maybe had never shot an animal over 300 yards in his life, that didn't even think it was possible, all of a sudden he's deadly at 700 yards. Like, just like that, we flipped a switch on and revolutionized the entire industry. Now, there's guys that were doing long-range shooting already. They were doing drop charts and calculation cards and MOAs or mills or whatever, holdover reticles. But those solutions don't work for the average successful professional, because he's busy making money. He's not shooting every night or every weekend. He's busy making money, becoming wealthy or adding to his wealth. And so he needs a solution that he can be extremely proficient at with very little inputs. So that's why we were successful. So we did this out-of-the-box solution. That ballistic turret system, where we trued BCs and everything, was in 2006. There wasn't an applied ballistics back then, right? There was maybe one handheld calculator that lived on the market, and it was kind of a spillover from a military application, and it was on Windows Mobile 6. We invented the first consumer-directed ballistic calculator in 2009 and put it out there. It was a Windows Mobile platform. Way cool product to run.
I remember that with the pen.
Yeah, you could run a stylus.
You guys were
But we had multiple wins in that thing. We had all sorts of cool shit. It was really cool.
I remember there's this little game on there with the little dots.
That's what you were playing.
That's what we were playing, yeah.
And then we basically built that for field validation of our rangefinder that we were doing. So the next innovation that really changed everything was we introduced the first rangefinder with a real-time ballistic solver in it in 2011. And that disrupted the entire marketplace. We didn't have a competitor in that space for 5 years, and that was like a HDD. We built the online software for that. So that when you would download the data card to plug into your ACB, we built the online program that put that data card together.
Sure.
So and then SIG came on the scene, and at some point in there, Applied Ballistics became a company, and they started consulting for people. But I mean, we've been doing this forever. Right. And so, and then you put the training piece of this together. And so we started training people in 2007, and we've been training people on how to hunt with equipment that is capable of long range shooting, like how to make decisions, how to get the right terminal performance, how to do field expedient win solutions, and then how to use this sophisticated equipment that Gunworks puts together. And so look at that trajectory and look at that history and look at all the influences and all the changes that have happened and all the imitations that have happened because of what we've done. I mean, just take a look. Whether we used to have the worst possible stock designs. They hurt so bad, and they always had the biggest cartridges. And they've taken our inspiration on very specific engineered stock geometries. Right. And they've incorporated that in their systems. They did that by hiring some of our engineers. Right. So they brought that knowledge into their facility. They've started making some stocks that have negative combs, toe lines that aren't the classic style, the grips that work. You look at a lot of the other people in the industry, anybody that's put a negative comb on one of their stocks in the last, anybody, because we invented that, they have been inspired by our success and the excitement and success of our customers, for how their guns perform and how they recoil and how they behave. And so that system, right, has influenced everything from stock manufacturers to rifle assemblers to everybody. So here you have this imitation that's happening, and then you start looking at next progressions. We dropped the Revic Smart Scope, the PMR, in 2017. Fully integrated ballistic solution, dial the turret. It's doing the ballistic calculation in real time, has a weather station, and it has vector measurements, so azimuth, incline, etc. So it's standalone, everything you can imagine. And then the Gen 2 of that, which is the new Radical that we have, that is hunting weight scopes. Like our scopes weigh as much or less than the current products that are out there. They have as good as or better than optical performance, and you get all of this awesome ballistics pasted on top of it. So you just look at all those things and start adding it up, and then go compare anybody else. And you'll see that it is a significantly different trajectory and investment into the long-range hunting industry from Gunworks versus what you're seeing elsewhere. Like, we're not taking, we're giving. It's like everybody complains about us being expensive, but technically, look at what we're changing for the industry and look at what we're pushing and driving and how everybody benefits from that. And I think it's actually well done on our part. So today's topic is that same thing, that experience. I really think it's appropriate. That's a long lead into, this reserve hunt. And why are we doing this? And how does it benefit our customer? How does it benefit us? And I think maybe you could explain that. What do you think? Where do you think the benefits come from?
On the experience, on the reserve program. It's kind of the same out of the box experience. Should be. I mean, I'm still working out some kinks, but like John X is the pinnacle of our reserve.
Yeah, we've been doing that for 15 years.
Yeah, so we have I mean, we could do it with our eyes shut, right? So
that is the hunt, like where to go,
Yep.
who to hunt with,
Yep.
the
Equipment.
the equipment that you need, the travel arrangements, the facilitation of paperwork and documentation, the taxidermy at the other end, just the door-to-door. We've got all the systems and processes worked out so that you have the most magnificent trip experience.
Yeah. And that's an easy one. We've done it over and over again. A couple of these hunts that were going on where you and I haven't, ideally we'd go test them first. Like we're headed to Australia to go basically test Australia for a reserve hunt. And we're going to take a few guys with us, but we're going to go test that. We've never flown it. We've never done the documentation for it, any of that stuff.
No, I've been to Australia. It sucks. I mean, Australia's awesome. The travel sucks. It's a long ways.
It is a long ways. So it's a out of the box experience basically.
Yeah,
for you.
So
you know how much time I spend.
Yeah.
Getting a guy ready for John X.
Yeah.
For South Africa, and that's the easy one.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
Now, unless you have assistants underneath you and booking agents, and like you're not going to do that yourself.
Yeah.
And
I actually think it's the same thing, and I like the out of the box comparison. Is we're either hunting with people of known reputation, right? Or we're hunting with people who our customers, who have the expectation of excellence, right? And they've hunted with them, and so they can provide feedback. Or we hunt there ourselves. And then, like you said, sometimes there's these first forays out there where you haven't hunted with them. You don't have a customer. And I think we're usually pretty clear with guys about those. Or something crazy like this elephant hunt that we're scheming with Carl on.
Yeah.
You know, we've hunted with John X 15 years in a row. And some years we're doing multiple trips there. Usually we take 2 groups there. I think some years we maybe have 3 different groups that are going
We
there.
have 3 groups this year.
And then if you count our customers that are going there on their own, there might be, I don't know, a dozen different weeks where there's a Gunworks, in quotations, trip going on. Known outcome, known, everything. So what we're putting together with Carl, who runs John X Safaris, Carl Benzel, we're putting together an elephant trip. And so Carl hunts all over Africa. He's taking clients there, accompanies clients on their big hunts, to help facilitate kind of a nice concierge service. And so we're putting together this thing where it's kind of the same, where he'll help make the arrangements, help provide some assurance, but there's always just that little bit of risk. And he's being real careful and we're being real careful. But when we have an experience like that, that's a new frontiers, we'll make sure and let you know. Otherwise, it's proven.
Yeah.
I think hunting with Kalen and doing our Russia trip, I think that's a good example of just relying on great industry partners.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I think the only other thing to cover about the reserve is, where to find it on the website. Go to the little hamburger menu thing, find experiences, go check it out, read all the copy there, watch the cool video we put together. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see your hunts organized by year, basically. And you probably don't know what hunts we have going on, do you? Off the top of your head, what do you have? 2020 next year.
So this year, I'm going to Australia with you.
Yep.
I'm going to Tajikistan in December. Spain next spring. Africa in July. And then we've got Russia at the end of the year. And I'm sure you've got at least 2 more in between all of those somewhere.
So far, yeah. Still working on a couple too. So you're right. We got Spain earlier in the year. So you just got back from Spain.
Yeah.
That was an early year trip too. You shot a Gritos,
Ibex, and Roebuck.
2
absolute awesome trophies.
And we had Spain booked for a return trip in 27. You come back to me and you're like, hey, I'm not waiting 2 years to go back. So I got that bumped up to 2026. We're going in March, end of March, early April. And what's that trip's main focus? Because we have 2 trips planned, early and late.
So the Spain's different. Like, it's way different than Africa. There's some similarities in that you have some species options. Like, you can go there and you could unload a lot and shoot a lot of species. But there's 2 classic hunts that I think everybody should do there. And one's a northern hunt and one is a southern hunt.
Okay.
And you don't necessarily mix those together. If you want to kind of chillax a little bit and do some touring and some eating and some sightseeing. So hunt the north, you hunt the Pyrenees Mountains, you can hunt chamois, basically the go-to, but they've got mouflon, they've got red stag, they've got pigs, they've got all sorts of stuff. And then central, we've got the Besides and Gritos ibex, and then roebuck, and then southern, you have the other 2 ibex species. So we kind of did a kind of a central hunt and took some Besides, Gritos, roebuck. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back and do a northern hunt and we can dip down in and maybe take a Besides ibex while we're there.
For the guys that didn't go last time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we'll be pretty cool about like how we configure it. But I think that northern mountain hunt's going to be really fun.
So that's focused on chamois.
Yeah. And the other mountain species that are there.
Okay. No ibex there.
Well,
unless you
just dip down just a little bit and you
Okay.
got the Besides region that you
Okay.
found.
And then in 27, I don't have the dates yet, but we're going to do that.
So
Fall, southern. Or,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you do it a little different time of the year.
And you go shoot the 2
ibex species that are down there. And then fill in with some other
stag.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. By that time, you'll have your ibex stag.
You know, I think the greatest thing about Spain was the pace and the vibe.
Okay. Give us the lowdown on that.
Dude, I'm telling you, one day we spent over 9 hours of eating that day. Between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, over 9 hours. Dinner was over 6 hours. It was so cool, man. And the food's great. Alvaro's like he's actually a friend of Carl's.
Yeah,
and this is where the connection comes.
Tell me how this Spain.
We ended up down there at John X hunting and spending time there, and he is an absolute hunting fool. He'll hunt all over the world, and so it's almost like a concierge service for worldwide hunting.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he's from Spain. That's his home territory, and our experience there was just, man, it was so cool. Like the roebuck experience, we hunted a couple days, and I shot the biggest freaking roebuck. The trophy bill on that hurt so bad. I was expecting one thing, and it was so big that it was something entirely different. And then the Gritos ibex, like the story behind the mountains and the National Reserve, and then the way that they manage and hunt those is really, really cool. Like it's just, it was great hunting experiences. All have many things that are in common. You're with the capability of your outfitter or guide to kill, right? So I like to hunt with killers. I'm not a nature hike guy. I want to go be successful. Yeah. And some people have a different output. Fine. That's fine. But that's not what I'm doing. Like, I'm there to kill. Like the epitome of Gunworks is breaking the shot, right? And the chase for the perfect shot. So if that opportunity doesn't come, then I'm frustrated. That's not my objective. Yeah. Now, I don't have to shoot ginormous trophies. That's never been my objective. I've got an ego just like every other man, and I want to shoot big stuff, but that's not what's driving me out there. It's that pursuit of the perfect shot. So I need that experience. I need that closure to that event to make it feel successful for me. So I like hunting with killers. That's number one. So Carl, Alvaro, Kalen Lemon, like all of these guys, that you'll find the common thread is that we're going with guys that know how to be successful. Mm-hmm. right? That's the theme. And then the second one is, do they have a sense of how to make you comfortable, and do they have the attention to detail to take care of your needs while you're with them? Whether that's something as simple as a comfortable room and a nice bed, right? Or it's a meal, or it's a stopover at some attraction, or it's the style of hunt, right? They know how to cater to that need or desire that the client has. And that roebuck hunt was absolutely cool. We worked really hard. The other crew, they were a little bit more casual and did a little bit more road hunt, and we were out stomping through wheat fields and getting soaked to where the water was squishing out the top of our boots. Like it was different. When we hunted Gritos, it's like we had a really easy hike because we hunted with one of our customers who's older and still just bringing it every day, but he's not going to go climb up a mountain. And they tailored it perfectly where we had a really easy hike down a ridge and we're able to be successful. Another really easy hike back out to the road for him, where mine, we actually hoofed it and climbed up in there and we went exploring. So being able to tailor that experience to fit the client is another key trait that we're looking for. So where we go, it's like, I want to be taken care of. I want to be comfortable. I want to be attended to. I want to kill, and I want to be successful. And the guys that we go with have that capability. That's
within reason, comfortable within reason.
Sure.
The polar bear hunt's going to be
uncomfortable, but there's uncomfortable and there's good enough.
Yeah, where they're like, they don't care.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good summary of Spain for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what are we hunting in Australia in a month, next month?
Well, okay, I hear different stories, but what I understand is we're going to go test up in the North Country. We're going to go hunt the buffalo.
Yep.
And we've got a couple species there we can hunt, and we're gonna explore the territory. We're gonna shoot some trophies, maybe do some culling, and have a great time.
Yep.
We've got a gun nut down there that we're going with. Absolutely nuts about guns, like over the top nuts about guns.
He just finished his 208 Barnes load for his 300 PRC.
Yeah.
Sent me a picture last night of a camo.
Does he have his gun already?
Yeah, he took 2 of them over there.
Okay.
Yeah. Of a camel. First kill.
Yeah. No, he is a gun nut and he's a shooting machine. And I'm looking forward to spending time with him. It's going to be fun.
I think we're going to get in a lot of trouble. Not because of me and you, but because of him. I'm pretty sure.
Because he's too excitable?
He is way too excitable. He's like, let's shoot that thing. But yeah, main prize is buffalo. We got banting, brush bulls, wild hogs. And we're actually going to dip down a little south and we're going to shoot rusa.
Mm-hmm. I've done that before.
We've got a add-on for camel if we want and stuff like that. So that's what we're covering in August. We've got 1 or 2 spots left on that trip. And I actually have an Australia trip scheduled for end of May next year.
Wow.
Right after Spain.
Okay.
Now that trip's not buffalo. That's a deer slam.
Okay.
So there's 5 species.
Rusa, sambar, axis.
A cheetah or whatever. It's axis, but cheetah.
Yeah.
And then you've got, it's like a sambar deer.
Yep.
I should have these memorized.
It's more than the 3?
It's like 5.
So I don't know the other 2.
Rusa, sambar.
Axis. Right.
Axis, yeah.
Those are the classic ones.
Yep.
So what are the other 2?
There's a big fat one.
You were showing me a hog deer.
Hog deer.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what's the last one? Can't remember. You just know you're going to shoot a lot of deer.
Yeah. I'm not. You are. The Haven rusa. Okay. Hog deer. There's another rusa. Sambar. Red deer. They have stag there.
Okay. Yep.
And then the fallow.
Oh, fallow. Nice.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. It'll be fun.
That'll be a fun trip. Fishing. I mean, we're gonna fish on this trip. We'll fish on that trip. Do some crabbing.
Yeah, nice. Well, yeah, those. I feel like those. The adventure that I'm anticipating will be slightly Western.
On this next one or
Yeah.
next year?
Yeah,
Next year we're gonna be on the in a beach house, like a private beach house.
Okay.
It'll be pretty cool.
nice.
I'm pretty sure this year's gonna be Western.
Yeah.
He just got a new toy. It's one of those little off-road buggies.
Okay.
Like same thing as us. No one has them over there. He's interested in investing in cool experiences for
Oh,
his
for guys.
customers. Yeah, because there's only two ways you can hunt it. You wait for it to dry out, and you can hunt it on foot and UTVs and foilers, or you hunt it when it's a little wet and you use a helicopter. But obviously, it's a little cheaper to drive
Sure.
UTVs than
Sure.
a helicopter. But he's got these little Argos. I think that's what they're called, is Argos
Kind
or whatever.
of amphibious.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yep.
If it's good enough for Jim Shockey, it's good enough for us. Oh, shit.
That's a good one. And we're testing out some products on that trip too.
Well, we
Is
try
the
to,
plan.
try to do that on most
Yeah.
of these trips.
Yeah.
You know, new products go on trips and get wrung out and tested to the extremes, like the Tajikistan one.
I don't know what we're testing on that yet.
And new
Oh, what-
binos.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
that's a good one. What are we testing
Maybe
for
we'll,
platform?
maybe we'll have a prototype Helios by then.
They actually told me no.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll see.
I gotta have gun permits here in probably the next month.
Well, all you got to do is file a permit for an NX2 receiver.
Is that what we're dropping in it?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it a little easier. We'll just pull it off of the one we've been playing with.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got Spain, Australia. We've got a cool couples trip next year. Now it's not like a full-on couples trip. We're not going to go to Cape Town and do the whole tour there. Just kind of the wrong time of the year. But we've got enough couples in camp. We're calling it a couples trip.
Well, Carl's, the family, like, it's not just him, it's his whole family, his dad and his sister, and everybody's involved. They do a really good job of creating, fun adventures for
Yeah.
people who
Day
don't,
trips.
who don't want to go out and hunt. And so that we're just a bunch of friends are getting together and we're taking our wives. Like, I've been there 15 times and I'm going to finally take my wife. So it was about time, but we're going to take our wives. We're going to have a great time. She'll go hunt a little bit. She'll shoot some stuff. She'll relax. She'll chill out. Maybe she'll go to town, have some fun. So
She's going to shoot a lot of stuff.
we'll see. Maybe
So she's going to get into it.
we'll see.
Well, nothing to cover on that. After that, we have Mongolia.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That one sounds good.
We're going to have some fun on that. Hopefully we don't get too deep and shoot
What time of the year was that? That was like August, wasn't it?
end of August. Yeah. Yeah. So far, who's going is me, you, and Tim.
Okay.
Tim wants to shoot a
Big
big,
one.
yeah, he wants to shoot a sheep. But the trip is just, we're going to go shoot the goby and the Altai ibex. And then maybe a couple add-ons. We could shoot a stag while we're there.
Maral, is that what they have there? Maral.
The stag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're not shooting Markhor and we're not shooting.
You told me you
I
wanted to
didn't
shoot a
really.
big sheep, but I think you're crazy.
I don't think I can afford a big sheep.
No, we're going to have just as much fun watching Tim do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That one's going to be interesting. We haven't been over to Mongolia before, but Sam Cunningham, good customer, he's going over 2-3 weeks.
With the same guy.
We're same guy.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a good report.
And we've had a lot of guys go. Mike Pilch.
But that's where we do our, we kind of build the to do's and don't do's from those customer experiences, and then we kind of steer away from the areas that don't perform. And I've done so many hunts that I regret over the years. There's no good deals.
Yeah.
Like, you pay for it.
Yeah.
But and so you take that experience and our customers' experience, and then you start with a really good plan, and then once you process through it and exercise it a few times, it gets pretty slick.
Yeah.
Cool. So what else we got to cover today?
Russia's after that.
Okay.
But
Still have spots for Russia? I thought
No.
that one's booked.
It's been booked for a while, and I get a lot of people.
Interest.
Yeah, a lot of interest.
Need to stand up the next one.
Could, yeah. I've got 2027 stuff, but we can cover that in another.
You know, we're not going to be able to shoot everything that's shootable over there.
I hope we do, man. I don't want to go back.
Why? It'll be so much fun.
It'll be so much fun. I'm taking the guns over in my name, so I'm going to be stuck in the jail for. I'm going to be stuck in.
Just do it right, and then there's no problems.
It sounds like it doesn't matter what you do, you're stuck in the jail. But while you guys are touring,
they're just real careful about what comes in.
yeah.
Well, there's always a system for, bringing your rifle with you when you travel internationally.
When's your meeting?
This afternoon.
Yeah.
I need to leave here in an hour, so
Okay, we got time. Yeah. Okay. Well, we covered enough hunting stuff about reserve. Let's cover some stuff. Let's teach some stuff.
okay,
Maybe.
go for it.
Okay. Opening, I guess. There's been a question on my mind. I've done a bunch of private shoots the last month to 2 months with a bunch of successful hunters, cool people. And it's always surprising when you go teach people, and I think Brian probably sees a lot of this too, is you go try and teach a guy the most simple thing. Hey, did you know your rifle, you go from Texas to sheep hunting, right? Your environmentals are different. Your gun's going to shoot different. The zero's going to be off, right? They're like, what, really? Man, I've done this for 10, 15 years and I've shot so much stuff. And I'm like, the question is,
Minute of elk is a big freaking circle.
yeah. The question I have written down is, how are people successful in their hunting adventures when they don't know a fraction of the stuff they should?
That's a good question. I feel that when the hunter shows up in camp, there's kind of this symbiosis, this requirement, like this expectation. You expect your guide to put you on a good animal to help you be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And your guide expects you, when he puts you on a good animal, he expects you to be able to shoot it
Mm-hmm.
and be successful. So you're both counting on each other for the successful outcome of that trip. So you think, what does it take to be successful? And I think where we've helped change the paradigm of the industry is, 300 yards isn't the limit anymore. 400 yards is not the limit. 500, 600, 700 yards isn't the limit. And so we've created this opportunity to shoot so much farther than we ever have, which really, it's exponential, the success potential that you have now. But to ensure that you can deliver, for yourself, for the guide, to make sure that you can make the shot when the time comes, you have to know your system. You have to understand how it works, the situations where it's not going to work, where it's going to fail. You have to be able to troubleshoot your gun when there's a problem. How do I recognize the problem? How do I diagnose the root cause? And then how do I take the action to make the correction? And that requires a base level understanding of external ballistics, of, your mechanical systems of your weapon. Like, you need to know these things. I've been doing an aviation journey. That's kind of been my kind of the thing that's energizing me right now, is learning how to fly airplanes. And right now I'm learning a new airplane that's kind of a big step for me, and it's a stretch. And, the first step is I got to know all the V speeds. I got to know all the operating limitations. I need to know all the mechanical, electrical systems. I got to know how every single thing on that plane works. Right? And then you have to start memorizing your emergency procedures. Like, what do you do when something goes wrong? So there's memory items, and then there's processes that you have to be a part of. Like, I've got a really cool emergency checklist right here. I can button. There's what I need to do. Okay, take those actions. So some things are memory items, some things are process driven. But it's the same thing with a gun. Like, you need to know your system. You need to know the weapon. You need to know how it works. You need to know all this stuff. And it's a lot to take on. Now, if you have to know all this stuff before you ever pull the trigger, nobody would ever do it because it's too much. So I'm out here flying an airplane, right? And the first couple times I go up, it's like I've got an instructor with me and we're doing the checkout. I'm learning how to fly it, and he's making sure I don't crash and burn. It's kind of the same thing as going to school, right? You come out of the school, we've got our instructors there. We're going to guide you through that first process so you don't crash and burn and get frustrated and bail. And you're going to learn the bare minimums. And there's always learning levels. You can learn this core amount that helps get you 80 or 90% proficient. And then that last little bit just takes a massive amount. It's like you may never have a 0 shift on your weapon on a hunt. And then maybe you never need to know how to change the zero of your gun. But if that happens and you do have a 0 shift, you need to know how to adjust the zero of your gun. And if you don't, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to be frustrated, right? And even something as simple as that, if you haven't seen it and you haven't practiced it before, it could cause some problems. All these new turrets that we're doing are non-raising turrets, and they slip a little differently than the old school method that just really makes sense. Now you've got to pay attention and do it a certain way. You look at the ballistic systems and trajectories, and as we shoot farther, like exactness on inputs is critical. We do everything we possibly can to load ammo to the same velocity over and over again. But as this industry's changed and we've lost access to a lot of the powders that we used to use, the recipes change, like things change. And I know all the big manufacturers, they deal with the same issues. And so lot to lot, there can be variations. And how do we deal with that? What are the tools that we have available to us? How do we adjust for it? There's so many things that do take input as far as out of the box as we claim the system is. And it's magnificent. It really is. It's so exciting for people that have never done that before to use it that way. But it's not the general cases that you need the knowledge for. It's the emergency procedures, right? It's the fire or smoke in flight. What do we do? Right? Which may never happen, but if it does, I'm on a $100,000 stone sheep hunt. I have to kill. That's my responsibility with this weapon. It's my obligation to the guide and the outfitters to live up to my end of the bargain, to be deadly with my weapon. That's my responsibility. And if you fail at that, that's $100,000 that you just flush down the drain. So I do think it's really important to put that extra effort in. So shooting school, perfect way, right? I mean, we've got the oldest, biggest, longest running long-range hunting training program in the country, in the world. That's what we do, right? We don't mix it up with a bunch of knowledge that you don't need. We don't mix it up with a bunch of knowledge that was developed for warfighting. Like our systems, knowledge, and process and equipment is all designed for successful professionals that want to hunt and be successful. So different. It's a little different.
So you're telling me that everyone else is just getting lucky?
No. You can be very proficient with a little bit of input, right? And truthfully, if you accept some outcomes that aren't perfect, it's like, yeah, you can kill some stuff. It might not be pretty, but an elk's big. Like I want to put the bullet within a couple inches of where I'm aiming, but technically, if you're a foot of where you're aiming in any direction, you probably can kill him. So that's too big of an error for me. So I want to be a little smaller. I've killed so many animals. I've been on so many experiences. I've made so many mistakes and had so many failures. I would just as soon never have any more. And so I've learned controlling the margins and being prepared for the abnormals is how you're successful every time.
I think that covers that then.
Sure, we didn't get very specific, but
No.
the goal there was to inspire people to put the effort into, to budget the time and the expense, and invest in learning and continuing your education in your long-range journey. So you can spend lots of money on hunts and not risk it.
Yeah. Holy cow. Okay. Well, last thing we could cover is what do we want to tease to the guys? What have you been working on lately? What have I been working on lately?
We're so late on new product launches this year. So we've got this new chassis system that we're just about to drop. Like, it's pending. We actually showed a sneak peek picture of it last year. We thought we'd launch it last fall, and then we're sure we were going to launch it by January. And here we are, July, not quite launched yet. But every time you do something new, you break out and you're like, okay, new roadmap, clean sheet, white paper. What do we do? That is so dangerous. I envy companies and brands that are satisfied with just small improvements over something that has already been done before. Because to take a mechanism, to take a design that exists and to make small improvements is very low lift, and it's very nice. It's very low risk as well. So we catch this wild hare to do a chassis gun, and in typical fashion, it's like we can't actually just make incremental improvements over what exists. We have to set these unrealistic standards for how this should perform. So we developed this hinge mechanism that's completely concealed, and man, it was so much work. And is it really that much better? I'm not sure. It gives you a traditional tow line, so you have bag control, which was the intention of it. So from my shooting perspective, I say yes. I don't know if the customers will see the same value that I do, but that was a huge lift. And then, like, we're machining the parts here, so you kind of balance style, which Gunworks products always have very intentional style and design cues. And you go look at most of the chassis that are out there, and it's like they're designed by people who have to write the machining code and make the fixtures, and so they tend to be
Boxes.
sort of boxy.
Yeah.
And so now we've got this design that's like a lot of work to machine. Like, I think we got about 6 hours. 6 hours? It's more than that. It might be 7 hours of machine time between the buttstock, the grip frame, and the fore end. And that's just 3 of, hundreds of parts that are there. So it's pretty intense. And so just we thought we were ready the first part of the spring, and we made a trigger for this one. So we designed a trigger in-house, and we caught a let's call it a flaw in high-level design thinking for how the trigger should work and be safe. And it was safe, but we found that it's super safe, like way safer than the stuff that we're using now. I mean, we're doing 6-foot drop tests on 6 axes without safety engaged, and we're passing. But what we found was that we're sitting on the top of a knife edge. So it's really, really safe. And then with just a little bit of change in the system, it was not safe. And so we went back to the drawing board and completely redesigned the entire fire control trigger system. And I am so excited about this trigger. It is, it applies a different thinking about how triggers work. Something that I discovered 25 years ago when I was modifying handguns and shooting a lot of revolvers and pistols. And we'll have to do a deep dive on the psychology of trigger control and
later podcast,
target panic, all that stuff. But anyways, and then I'm really excited about additive manufacturing. So we had an opportunity to do some parts of this with additive manufacturing, which is 3D printing.
Okay.
And I thought we'd done all the rigorous engineering testing. Engineering manager must have missed this, but when we got this a little hotter, say you left it in a hot car and it kind of exceeds a comfortable temperature for us, but it's actually potentially an environment you'd see, the darn thing would just get droopy like a piece of spaghetti. So we had to go back to the drawing board, and I always wanted to do carbon here anyways, and so I got the team
bit the bullet.
Yeah, I got the team energized about it, and we just did a sprint and just redid all the hardware in carbon, which was really cool. Great exercise.
They were just showing us the first prototype.
Yeah.
30 minutes ago.
Yeah. In like less than 3 weeks, we said, do it, did the modeling, did the process and tooling development, built prototypes, built the fixtures to do post-processing, made a functional prototype, and literally first thing out of the mold was perfect.
Mhm.
Like the guys are freaking awesome. This is one of the benefits of being vertically integrated. We make everything here. And so since we can make everything, we can almost do anything, and we can do it quickly in a turn. If you're, sourcing parts from China and importing it in through a northern country into the U.S., it's like you've got a longer lead time to turn new products and new developments. So it's a worthy investment, I think, for USA manufacturing. That's cool. New binos are also the Gen 2 version of the BLR-10Bs. They are magnificent. We almost doubled the resolution.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say doubled, we cut it in half. Like you can resolve twice as well with the new pair. We increased the light transmission almost 5% per side.
That's like the really smart marketing way to say it, but the basic way to say it is fucking really clear.
Yeah. No, the way marketing people say it is they say tack sharp or improved clarity.
Yeah.
Clarity is actually not a measurable optical property. We've got a really cool descriptor on optical aberrations and things that you're looking for in an optical system on the Revit website. Clarity is not one of the things. It's not a real thing. Marketing bullshit. It's like knockdown power. Those we updated the display so that it's laid out a little bit better.
Kind of more like the BR4.
Yep, just like the BR4. And so all the data is there for you. We added a new wind calculation routine.
Do you tell me, are you actually going to use that?
Yes.
You are?
Yes.
It's so easy to rearrange.
No. It's so much faster to recalc. It's very handy. Yeah.
I'm surprised.
I have found the pain of having to rearrange before in the field. I've experienced that before.
Guess what you get out of a rearrange?
Confirmation.
One more confirmation, yeah. I'm interested to see. You tell me.
But I'm such a fast deadly killer that I need to save seconds. Just extra steps.
We'll recap in a year from now.
Yeah.
You tell me if you used it at all or not.
Fair enough.
And if I've used it, then I'll cop to it, and it's actually a pretty badass feature.
The
RSR.
Yeah. Revit Smart Range. That is huge. Again, another podcast, so we'll do a rollout on that. Bipod, got a bipod product coming. Pretty cool. Follow on. And those will probably be the three bigs we see kind of coming into the hunting season.
Cool. Your projects are cooler than mine.
All these projects are mine. Your projects are my projects, buddy.
You don't even know half the projects I'm working on.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing.
One cool project we just launched that I've been working on is the on the wall at gunworks.com.
Oh yeah.
So it's a cool thing to just show the employees that work for us the success in the field that they're a part of, basically. And
sure, whether it's their trophy pictures or
customers.
Yep. Yeah. So it's very cool.
So customers send in a photo. It's got to be a high quality photo. There's not like, you don't have to have your scope code or anything on it. It's got to be a clear photo. So when I print it out, it looks good. It's not all blurry.
Yeah.
It's got to have an animal in it. I don't care what it is. If it's big, little, if it's a buck or a doe.
Sure.
And then you and whoever else you want in it. So three requirements there. Sorry, it has to have a Gunworks gun in there somewhere. So animal, you, gun, and it's got to be clear. So 4 requirements.
Yeah.
So if you meet those requirements, send your picture to onthewall@gunworks.com. It's funny how that worked out, right? Because it's on the wall at Gunworks.
Yeah.
But and if you want me to write your name on the picture, send me your name. And if you want to brag about how far it is, send me how far you shot it.
Okay. Cool.
I've got your buffalo up there that you shot at 15 yards. And it is not the closest shot on the wall so far. So I think
it doesn't have to be far.
Brian Poor's got one at 4 yards. So
terminal performance test right there. Huh?
That's a pretty cool project. I like seeing people's success. So
yeah, everybody does. I don't think our crew here at the shop realize how important and how special the products that they make are. And so anything we can do to share with them how cool our customers are and like some of the adventures that these products we make go on. It'd be really cool.
A part of you and I's success, we put up a lot of mounts in the last month.
Yeah, that was
2
kind of fun.
months. So
Looks really cool.
the shop kind of has a facelift a little bit. We added about 30 mounts.
No, it wasn't. It was like 60.
60. I'm trying to picture how many Africa mounts there are.
And those were only Africa through 2015.
Yeah, 2015 to 2018.
Yeah.
So, lots of mounts getting put up, lots of office changes. Brand gear is another thing I've been working on, trying to anyways. So we got I've got a new source for some shirts and stuff. So got a new shirt. It's that Origin shirt with the flag and mountains.
That's
and stuff.
cool.
So
Nice time of the year to sell that.
got a couple more shirts coming, a couple other cool little.
Origin's live on the website, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's live. And I think one of the other things that we've been working on for a long time is some pretty badass films.
Oh, yeah. When are we going to start airing some of those?
They all have new products in them. So we're just waiting. I asked Jason, I'm like, when can I start launching these videos? Because it's got this index and the bino in it.
Yeah.
And technically we're teasing it now. So can I tease it in
Yeah.
visual aspect?
Maybe.
But no, we've got cool stuff. We filmed your Spain hunt and made a cool little video. And then I went to Africa on a reserve hunt earlier this year with a bunch of friends.
Hey, how was the video you shot in Africa last year?
What are you talking about?
When we hunted buffalo with Harpreet.
You know, the assets are there. And the only thing we've made is a 45-second reel.
I want to get some feedback on how well you did filming.
Dude, you seen the little reel? It's
Top 40. You had 45 seconds out of 2 weeks.
we were there for 7 days, but it's pretty good. We're gonna make a pretty cool film in Australia.
Yeah,
I'm gonna work hard for you.
Okay.
But we've got your Spain hunt. We've got my Africa hunt that I just went on. It's not as good as your Spain hunt, but we killed some small shit a long ways away with cool people. So,
Yeah.
And then one that we've had done for a while is my New Zealand hunt that we did last year.
Yeah, that turned out pretty good.
That turned out really good.
You know, that Oklahoma trip with
And the
Leonard,
Oklahoma, yeah.
with Randy, and we flew down there.
Yeah.
That's been my favorite one so far.
So we have four really, really nice.
Well, something for everybody, listeners, to stay tuned for is those were pretty fun, and you know, anything that Randy films is so well produced that it's absolutely a must see.
Yeah.
Whether the talent is just me and you and it's kind of crappy, but I think all my shooting's been pretty good, so that'll be pretty fun to watch.
All my shooting has been pretty good so far too. So
Good enough, anyways.
yeah. Well, shit, dude, I shot that freaking clip springer at 640 yards.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's all I get. Good shot, bro. The only thing I shot last year was at 15 yards, and it was the size of a bus.
That's not true, is it? Maybe. Cool. Well, thanks for the time today. I think we had fun. I'm looking forward to getting these products out, and I think you've been doing a really good job on the reserve, and so far customers are super happy, so I think you're gonna still have a job.
For now.
So keep it up. If there are a couple spots left for anything this year, I think, is it booked? Everything this year's booked?
I just got 1 or 2 spots for the Australia hunt.
Okay.
I mean, it's just me and you going.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if we took
a
couple cool guys.
couple
with
shooters,
us, but we don't
want to go on an exploration trip.
Yeah, exploration.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So, maybe a couple opportunities this year still, and then next year looks like the schedule's pretty heavy, and probably opportunities for Africa, Spain, Mongolia,
Australia.
and Australia.
Yep.
So time to start planning right now.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Thanks. Gunworks.com. Experiences. Check them out.
Okay.
If you like what you're hearing here, please take a second and give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on iTunes or on your favorite podcast app. We appreciate your feedback and suggestions for topics you'd like discussed or questions you want answered on the podcast. You can reach out on Facebook or Instagram or send us an email to podcast@gunworks.com. Also, be sure and check out our full offering of long-range gear at gunworks.com. Use promo code LRP for free shipping on any order.